Thank you. Before we proceed, the reference to that 1 February 2025 meeting is at paragraph 111. That's in relation to the question that Commissioner Khumalo had asked. That's 111 of General Masemola's statement. Yes. Then you were then dealing with paragraph 143 on page 46. That's where you're about to go to before the T adjournment.
Thanks, Commissioners. Yeah, paragraph 143, the Minister stated that at that meeting of the 27th of March 2025, that it took a political decision to establish the PKTT, therefore it will take a political decision to disband it. The Minister directed that there will be no further meetings regarding this matter, and any further engagement would be held with me only as the National Commissioner. However, the Minister and I had no further engagement regarding the PKTT thereafter.
Then the next topic that you deal with relates to the 121 dockets. And you commence from paragraph 144. I can ask you to proceed from there.
Sometime in late April or early May 2025, I became aware that 121 dockets that were classified as under investigations were removed from the PKTT and handed over to Lieutenant General Sintumule on the instruction of Lieutenant General Sibia. I attach a copy of the handing over letter as per SFM 14.
Yes, that's at 419 to 423 of Masemola 2, but you don't need to go there. Let's proceed.
Yeah, this came yet as another surprise to me because after the abrupt ending of the 27th March 2025 meeting, the partially accepted plan of 6 March 2025 has still not been accepted, yet dockets have been taken away from PKTT.
Can I just ask you to explain that? Why are you surprised by this? What point do you seek to make there in that last sentence?
Yeah, what I seek to make is that you would recall that the plan was supposed to be finalized at the meeting of 6 March 2025 in Cape Town, and that didn't happen. And further that it will be finalized at the meeting of 27th of March 2025. And that also did not happen as the meeting ended, not in a right mood. And so there was never that meeting where the minister said, you will only engage me thereafter on the matter of the PKTT. That has not happened as yet. Nothing has happened. So meaning there is no finalized disbandment plan. So things still hangs. So in other words, then there shouldn't have been any dockets that are moving up and down. But moreover, remember, if you go back to the 6 March meeting, 6 March 2025, where in the proposed plan of that was presented by General Khumalo, was that dockets be, if not going to station of origin, they go to the province, to murder and robbery unit. You would recall that I said that point was crushed very, very harshly by both Nkabinde and Sibia, that no, we will be recreating this PKTT under the guise of murder and robbery. So the doggers must go back to the police station of origin. So then it comes as a surprise, because that was the line that the doggers should go. So then there shouldn't be doggers that come to Pretoria, because Pretoria was never discussed in either of this meeting as a destination of any dockers.
Then in the next paragraph at 145.
Mr. Madam, before the next paragraph, General, when you become aware that dockets have been removed, what did you do about it? Mr. General Sibia is your report, so you are his superior. You know that there is no approved plan yet that authorizes this action. What did you do about it?
At some point, I did talk to him that I hear rumors that doggers are here. Remember, the agreement was doggers go to province, which you disprove that they go to station of origin. So there can't be doggers that come to this head office. So make sure that you do likewise. There shouldn't be any doggers that is here.
So you're saying you gave instruction, you gave him an instruction?
Yeah, I did tell him that it can be that dockers are here.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up question, Mr. Matau? General, did Lieutenant General Sibia have authority to remove the dockets or to instruct that dockets be removed from the PKTT and be brought to Pretoria to Lieutenant General Senzo? Did he have that authority?
Look, he's a deputy for investigations. As and when there are, you can't just do it. There should be agreement. In this case, if for some reason, let's say it's ordinary dockets, he can engage a provincial commissioner to say, because of reason 1, 2, 3, this is what I think we do. And if they agree, then they will do it. And if they do not agree, then whoever party that is not satisfied can then come to me and say, there is this action that is about to take and I don't like it. So he does have that authority, but that authority must be on, there must be agreement to that effect. He can't just do it.
Agreement with who? With you or with the provincial commissioner?
There should be agreement with the provincial commissioner, because the dockets belongs to a police station, and a police station reports to the provincial commissioner. So the provincial commissioner accounts for all dockets in his or her province. So he must know where they are and their movement at any given time. So nobody can then just come and take them away.
But General, this is not the normal situation of where he exercises his authority in the normal course. We're dealing with a situation where you've been given an instruction by the minister to disband. You tell General Sibia, as I remember your evidence yesterday, you tell General Sibia that you will deal with this matter because he's come to you with a plan and you don't like what he's proposing, and you say, leave it to me, I'll deal with it. A plan is put to the minister is not happy with it, and you wait for the minister to engage with you further. So you're still at a point where nothing has been approved, you haven't authorized any action that relates to the disbandment. And then you've got your direct report who gives instructions contrary to whatever you might have said without checking with you. That there is no consequence at that point from you, isn't that, should we not be concerned about that? That you've got a direct report who just does what they want and there's no direct immediate consequence from you?
Yeah, well, I did take steps because I did tell him that not to do that, even though, of course, he will go around flighting that he's executing the minister's instruction. So, but I did intervene and I did tell him, leave, as I told him at the beginning, to leave the matter. Even in this case, I told him, in our discussions, there was never a point where we said dockets must come to Pretoria. So make sure no dockets comes to this headquarters.
Thank you. General, we're still going to the issue of an internal investigation and how you dealt with General Sibia in relation to your instructions that were not obeyed. You deal with that further down in the statement, but perhaps just to locate precisely where we are here at this stage. You recall you dealt with the meeting of the 14th of January when you returned from leave, when you dealt with General Sibia coming to your office with a plan. Then you said he returned also on the 15th, and you indicated that on the 16th of January, you had a meeting with the minister where you told us part of the information that the minister discovered based on the presentation on the 16th. Then you indicated that on the 17th, General Sibia proceeded to issue a letter in his own name after you had refused to sign it, and you said he knew that you were the only person that was authorized to issue that letter. You remember? That's the evidence you gave yesterday.
Yes, correct. I do remember, Commissioner.
And there are consequences that followed those actions by General Sibia, and that's where we are heading with your statement. Am I correct?
That is correct, so, Commissioner.
Okay. That if we can then proceed to deal with, I think we were at paragraph 144, where you were dealing with, after you became aware that the dockets had been removed and handed over to Lieutenant General Sintumule, then you attach a copy of the handover letters as part of SFM 14 of Masemola 2. If I can just ask you to turn to page 419 of Masemola 2. You see the document goes from 419 to 423. That's the, is that the handover document that you are talking about in paragraph 144? The signature pages are on 423. Correct?
Signature is on
423. Oh, sorry, 422. So if you start at 422.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, it will tie up later when we deal with the action that you then take following this. If we can then go back to 145.
Yeah, on paragraph 145, on the 22nd of July 2025, I disapproved a request for funding for the investigation of the one-to-one political task team killing dockets proposed by Major General Motsepe and recommended by Lieutenant General Sibia. This was, in essence, a proposal for the one-to-one dockets to be investigated and finalized by the Serious and Violent Crime Investigation, Murder and Robbery section of head office. The funding request is annexed document as SFM 15.
Can I just ask you to go to page 424?
Advocate Matau, sorry to interrupt you. I just want clarity on this issue. From March 2025 to July 2025, it's a period of 4 months. So are we to take that from 23 March 2025 to July 2025, the dockets were sitting in Pretoria and they were not being investigated?
That is correct, Commissioner.
So what were they doing in Pretoria for that 4-month period?
There were some, well, when I heard around May, they were being handed over from KZN to Lieutenant General Khumalo, from Lieutenant General Khumalo to General Sintumule. And with each handing over, they were checking them, auditing them. That's what they were doing. Until then, on this 22nd of July, the request, of course, came earlier than 22nd of July to my office, but I only considered it that day, where there was a proposal now to establish another team from here, head office, to take these dockets back to KwaZulu-Natal with new money to go and investigate. That is then where I disapprove this funding to say we can't be sending another team where there is a team. These dockets must just be audited and be handed over back to the same team that dealt with them before. But of course, before that, you'll recall, Commissioner, that we didn't know then the motive of requiring these dockets to come to Pretoria. Now that we know that the real purpose of these dockets coming to Pretoria was actually to audit and find the dockets of Gauteng, the Gauteng Crime Intelligence Operation. That is the dockets of Amaswart, the dockets of CAT. So that was the objective at the end of the day. I'm sure we'll come there later, but at this time, one realized that the calling of the dockets from KZN to here was motivated by the 10 members of PKTT that came from KwaZulu-Natal to Gauteng.
And how do you know that this was the motivation?
Well, the linkages, Commissioner, that one finds when they give a detailed briefing, which Lieutenant General Dumisani Kumar, I'm sure, will give. Some part might be in camera. That's where you will find the links amongst the people in terms.
But these dockets were never in KZN, were they? Because 10 PKTT members came up from KZN to join the GCI Ops members to assist them in Gauteng. So my understanding is that those dockets were always in Gauteng and were not part of the 121 that came up from KZN. So if you say the motivation for bringing up the dockets from KZN was to see the contents insofar as the contents related to the Gauteng cases. So it means the target was missed, the real target was missed. Correct me if I have it all wrong.
Indeed, you are correct, Commissioner. But however, remember the people that were doing this were not aware that they just presumed that because they are members from PKTT KwaZulu-Natal that came to Gauteng, it means they are the one behind the Gauteng project. So if we disband them in KZN, then the investigation in Gauteng will then collapse. That is what later get to be discovered.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clear it up in my mind. We don't need to belabor it. I assume that we'll hear more about it when Lieutenant General Khumalo testifies.
Thanks, Commissioners. If we can then proceed to 424, which is Annexure SM15 in Masemola 2. There are certain paragraphs that you deal with as being incorrect in this request for funding. And if I can just ask you perhaps to deal with the paragraphs. If you start at paragraph 1, deals with the purpose for the request, then I'll ask you when we deal with those paragraphs that you correct in your statement as being incorrect. So I'll cross-reference between that paragraph and what you say in your statement. So if you can just proceed.
Yeah, the information note to the National Commissioner, the purpose thereof says that the information note is to request additional funding for investigation and closure of one-to-one political killing case dockets under serious and violent crime investigations, murder and robbery section.
Yes, if you can proceed to the background.
The background, on the 31st of December 2024, the Minister's Office issued an instruction through the Office of the Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sibiya, who was acting as the National Commissioner at that time, that the political task team, which is based in KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, be disbanded and transfer all case dockets to the respective station of origin through Provincial Serious and Violent Crime Investigation Unit.
In your statement at para 147, you deal with this paragraph. Page 48 of your statement.
Yeah, the document, the information note that I just read now, incorrectly record at paragraph 2.1 that Lieutenant General Sibiya was the acting National Commissioner on 31st of December 2024, when the directive to disband PKTT was issued by the Minister. Lieutenant General Msikidi was that time. The correct fact is that Lieutenant General Msikidi was the acting National Commissioner while I was on leave from that 31st December 2024 up to 13 January 2025.
Then if I can ask you to skip.
Sorry, Mr. Mittal, before you move on.
Yes.
General, in that paragraph 2.1, at least as far as I think I've understood the evidence so far, it doesn't seem that's the only incorrect thing that is contained in that paragraph. The paragraph says the minister issued an instruction through the office of General Sibiya. Surely that's not correct? on the 31st of December, it is issued to you. The instruction is issued to you, not to Sibia.
That is correct, Commissioner.
That's the first part. The second part is, it says General Sibia, who was the acting national commissioner at the time, and you've pointed out that is not correct. And the third part to it is, it says that the direction from the minister to Sibia, according to this paragraph, General Sibia, according to this paragraph, it's that the political task team, which is based in KZN, be disbanded, and this is the important part I want you to comment on, transfer all case dockets to respective stations of origin through provincial serious and violent crime investigation. That's not the instruction of the minister, that last part.
Yes, that's true. That paragraph or line is incorrect, yes.
Who is the author of this note?
Is Major General Motsepe, I think, let me just check.
Motsepe is scratched out at 427. I can't quite read it. I think it's Kopedi Tata or something.
Oh yeah, I see here is Brigadier Kopedi Tata on behalf of Motsepe.
Now, when you signed this memorandum, as you do in that page where you do not approve the request for funding, did you inquire where he got this information from? I mean, it's a complete misrepresentation, and you know it is a complete misrepresentation in 2.1. Did you inquire where Kopedi Tata got this information from?
No. I didn't ask him that. I just concentrated on the request, what they want, and to give a response on it.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Muta.
Just before you leave, on the same page, 427, it looks like before this document came to you, it had already been approved by Lieutenant General Sibia on the 8th of July, 2025. Is that?
He just recommended it for approval.
For approval, yes.
Correct, the Commissioner.
And just to complete the picture, if you go back to 373, that's the email to which the 31 December 2024 letter was attached. And the people copied there do not include Lieutenant General Sibia, but you, General Masemola, and Lieutenant General Musikidi are copied.
Correct, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Madam.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Then if I can ask you to turn to paragraph 3.7 of SFM 15, page 425.
Correct, Commissioner.
Yes, we can just ask you to deal with that.
You may proceed, Mr. Mutau.
Thank you, Commissioner.
We're just trying to figure out how a certain name features on all of this, yeah.
Thank you.
And we think we have figured it out.
No, thank you. In fact, earlier on, I thought Commissioner Baloi called me Mr. Motsepe. I won't ask where that comes from in terms of renaming people.
All I'll say is that it's a totally different name.
No, Charles, I was just saying the renaming of people in this commission has precedent that emanates from somewhere. Yes, paragraph 3.7, General, on page 425. If I can please ask you to deal with that.
Yeah, 3.7 on 425 states that The divisional commissioner informed the national commissioner on the sentiments of the provincial commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, who directed that the DNC crime detection must be informed who will dispose of the dockets at his discretion.
You deal with this paragraph in paragraph 146 of your statement. If I can just ask you to deal with that.
Yeah, on paragraph 146, I mentioned that I mentioned this specifically because in the document at paragraph 3.7, it is recorded that I directed that Lieutenant General Sibiya be informed that Lieutenant General Mchunu did not want to take possession of the dockets and that he, Lieutenant General Sibiya, will dispose of the dockets at his discretion. This is not correct when Lieutenant General Sintumule, Divisional Commissioner of Detectives and Forensics, called me to inform me of Lieutenant General Mchunu's refusal to accept the dockets. I advised Sintumule that she must tell Lieutenant General Sibiya that he should return the dockets the same way that he took them from the province.
What does that mean? Returning them the same way that he took them?
I was mentioning that the dockets that he took from KwaZulu-Natal, if he took it without the authority of the provincial commissioner, he must return them same way without the authority back to where he took them from. Because he, first of all, he wasn't supposed to take them without the knowledge of the PC. And nevertheless, he took them. So I was saying he must see to finish, he must take them the same way back.
So if he didn't involve the if he did not involve the provincial commissioner when taking them, he should also not involve him when he's returning them to the province. That's the point you're making.
Correct, yes. That's what I was saying.
Right. Then you dealt with your comment on page 427 to that request. If you can just deal with that for completeness sake, your hand inscription.
Yeah, so this is now the process of getting the dockets back, because the dockets are already here in Pretoria, whether they came right or wrong, but they are here. So then from the office of General Sintumule, this memo was drawn requesting for a budget for a number of officials from head office, serious and violent crime, to go to KwaZulu-Natal with the one-to-one dockets to investigate them. And this is the request that came the 8th of July. Actually started 1st July, signed off by Brigadier Khoboditata. On behalf of General Sintumule, it was signed off on the 1st of July, and General Sibiya recommended it on the 8th of July, 2025. And on 22nd of July, 2025, I dealt with the request where I disapproved it, and my comments are that we cannot spend double on the same function. Political Killings Task Team is there already doing the function. Why are the dockets at HQ, as it was agreed that some dockets from the team be returned to the station of origin? That was the last agreement. In all other meetings the disbandment meetings that we had, that was the last agreement. So then after this disapproval, then I engaged the process of getting the dockets to go back. That's where then I embarked on tasking Major General Mohale to make copies, and subsequently they were sent back.
Can you please explain the agreement you are referring to? Who had agreed and when?
Commissioner, sorry?
You are referring to an agreement. I'm saying, please explain what exactly that agreement was and who had agreed and when.
I'm referring to the meeting of the 6th of March in Cape Town, 6th of March 2025, as well as the 27th of March 2025. The commissioner will recall in Cape Town that there was a suggestion that the dockets be taken to murder and robbery unit, KwaZulu-Natal, if at all the team is disbanding. And there was a strong view that no, they must go to station of origin. And it was more.
But had you agreed to that? Had you agreed to that? You and General Kwanazi? Because I think he was also at that meeting, or not? He was
No,
not at that meeting.
no,
He was only there on the 5th.
No, with General Mkonazi, we haven't agreed. General Mkonazi was not engaged at all in all
He
this.
was, no. He was there on the 5th, the day before the meeting of the 6th.
Correct.
Yes. So on the 6th, he was not at the meeting.
No, on the 6th, he was not at the meeting.
All right.
He wasn't.
Now, my understanding is that at that meeting, you were pushing for something different altogether. To the dockets being taken to the stations of origin. That's not what you were pushing for, not so.
Oh, that's not what I was pushing for.
As an alternative, you were pushing for the dockets being taken to murder and robbery.
Correct.
As an alternative.
Correct,
Yes.
Commissioner.
Now, what I'm trying to understand is the agreement that you are referring to because I have not heard you say that once the return, or rather, once a suggestion was made that the dockets be returned to the stations of origin, you never said, yes, we agree. Did you?
No, we didn't agree. But
Yes. And then there was to be a follow-up meeting which took place on the 27th of March. That's where you say the minister was all of a sudden very angry, and basically no meaningful discussion took place on the 27th. Not so?
that is correct, Commissioner.
Yes. Now I'm trying to understand what agreement you are referring to then, because you've just said now, on the 6th, you never agreed to the dockets being taken to the stations of origin. So that's why I'm asking you what agreement you are referring to then.
Yeah, Commissioner, I'm referring to the same meeting of the 6th of March 2025. The minister ruled that, yes, he sided with General Sibia and the Chief of Staff that dockets must not go to province, must go to the station of origin. That's what he said. So it's sort of an agreement, but that plan is not yet.
Maybe then you've captured this incorrectly if you say there was an agreement, because you've just said there was no agreement.
Yeah, no.
Because you were pushing for something else,
Yes.
and then the minister and the chief of staff said something different.
Yes.
So I don't see the agreement.
Yeah, so maybe I should have said suggested. I should have used the word suggested that they go to station of origin. So my main intention was that there was no Pretoria at all in the mention.
Or rather, the minister's preferred course was that the dockets be sent to the stations of origin. Would have been more accurate.
Yeah, that would have been the correct.
Yes. That, of course, is if your narrative is correct. We don't know what the minister will say. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mutalo.
Thank you, Chair. So you then proceed from paragraph 148 on page 48 of your statement, paragraph 148.
148, on the 28th of July 2025, I received a request from Lieutenant General Mchunu for a further extension of the PKTT's term and the approval of a budget until February 2026. The financial approval is attached as SFM 16.
Yes, and that is at page 433 of Masemola 2. You see at page 435, it is signed by General Mchunu, Lieutenant General Mchunu, at the bottom of 435.
That is correct.
And then the other signatures appear over the page. CFO and yourself.
That's correct.
And the approval for the extension is for 8 months. That is under the recommendations there for the period 1 August 2025 to 31 March 2026.
That is correct.
So on the face of this, are you disbanding the task team? Or is the task team and its functions continuing?
Commissioners, well, you'll recall that we were still with the disbandment plan, but the team, I kept on renewing financial authorities, so the team is still working. As I said, remember there is no disbandment letter that I personally sent to either General Dumisani Kumalo and or the provincial commissioner. So they were still functioning because there is no clarity in this disbandment plan. We were still working on it, and safe to say that as one was trying to manage this process, looking for the real reason that never came for why is the team disbanded. And eventually, after the arrest of Matlala on the 14th of May 2025, it became clear as to what was the objective for the disbandment. But the team was never, it is still working, and in any way, currently we are going to beef it up, and Gauteng also, we are in the process of establishing a PKTT for the province.
And at this stage,
Sorry, Mr. Mdao.
Apologies.
Can I just understand, is your approach that until the minister has approved the plan, a disbandment plan, the task team will continue its work in the way that they've always done? That's the one possibility. The other is the team is already in the winding down process even before a plan is approved. So when you approve this budget request or this funding request, I'm trying to understand whether you're approving to fund the continuing work of the task team in the normal course, pending the approval of a plan, or you are funding the team as part of a process of winding down. Which one is it?
At some point, I think earlier, as we were supposed to wind down, the issue was the minister was going to sign off the plan of winding down, and that plan couldn't be finalized. So then we couldn't wind down the team. So the funding is for continuation of the team.
Can you just, Mr. Matau, I'm looking at the date, 29 July 2025. Just for our benefit, Minister Mchunu at this point had been suspended, am I correct?
Yeah, I think
Now,
yes.
oh, sorry. He's on leave. Let me put it correctly. He's on leave at this point. So was your reason for approving the continuation of the operations until at least February 2026 motivated by that, or did it have nothing to do with that? Because in your response to my co-commissioner, Advocate Baloy, you say you were still waiting for the minister's approval of the winding down plan, but that can only be Minister Mchunu. And at this point, we know that he's on leave. So I just want you to clarify, what was your motivation for approving the operations at least until February 2026?
Yeah, commissioners, of course, we were, as you'd be aware, we were working on this winding down plan, awaiting approval by the minister at some point, and until when the team came to brief us on their discovery of what the real motive is. Since that day, then one adopted the approach that we don't wind down, the team must proceed, which was, it was somewhere, I'm sure, in June, if I am correct, or July. No, we were briefed somewhere in July, yes, yeah. Then that's when one decided that, no, the team should go on, because now we know what the motive was.
You say your motivation was the briefing in July. I just need clarity on that. Who briefed you in July? And how did that briefing influence this decision that we are talking about?
Yeah, it was General Timisano Kumalo, together with his team members and the provincial commissioner, General Mchunu.
Thank you, commissioners. Yes, you then approved that request for that period that is indicated as per Annexure SFM 16.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Then you move to paragraph 149 on page 48. Okay.
Yeah, on paragraph 149, in line with this, and on the 18th of August 2025, I wrote to Lieutenant General Mchunu advising him that the one-to-one dockets will be returned to KZN. I requested that he use his discretion to decide whether all dockets should be returned to PKTT or if others should be directed to another unit or office in the province, and the letter is attached as SFM 17.
Yes, that's at page 437. Then in paragraph 150, you mentioned the fact that the return of these dockets became a focal point of contention between yourself and the newly appointed minister. If I can just ask you to deal with that. Commencing from paragraph 150 to 152.
Yeah, the return of the one-to-one dockets became a focal point of contention between me and the newly appointed Minister of Police, highlighting again and underlining tension in both operational autonomy and the potential political overreach. The concern was that the return of the dockets would effectively impair the Matlala Commission's work. This tension was eased quickly. I advised the minister that the decision to return the dockets was taken earlier on, and that the dockets had been returned to KZN to continue investigations. Copies of the dockets had been made and are stored safely. At any stage, they will be made available to the Commission in whatever form it requires. And this resolved the impasse. So to just emphasize further there that it just so happened that during that time when I was asked the question whether what happened to the 121 dockets, and I said they've been returned, it was just after the postponement of the starting date of the commission. So I'm sure it was misinterpreted as if I'm returning the dockets because the commission has been postponed. But that was not the case. My processes started long before. It was just a coincidence.
Yes, then please proceed to 151.
It is worth noting that since the dockets were taken from the PKTT on General Swear's instruction, the dockets were not investigated. This heightened the need to get the dockets back to the team to progress those investigations. I'm advised that an audit was undertaken of the dockets, comparing the state of the dockets when they arrived at head office and when they were handed back to the task team. The audit demonstrates that only inspections were done, but not investigations were conducted. Major General Mogale, who's the current acting divisional commissioner of detectives, was directed to oversee the return of the dockets, and if called by the commission, he will be able to explain the status of the dockets.
And the essence of the point that you make there in those two paragraphs is that the dockets, when they were taken to head office in Pretoria, and upon that their return to KwaZulu-Natal, what has been determined is that no investigations took place in respect of those dockets.
That is correct, Commissioners.
General, sorry, Mr. Mdau, what is and what is the difference between inspection and investigation, as you have them there in 152?
Yeah, investigation is when you go around taking statements of people that can support your commission of the offense, collecting evidence, obtaining statements, finding out where is the suspect, tracing the suspect, and first identifying the suspect and tracing the suspect. And then the inspection is that is the auditing of the file to check on the status of the file, to say in this file, okay, you check what was done and what still needs to be done. That's the inspection.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Then, General, the next topic that you deal with is that of implicated persons. Commencing from paragraph 153, you mention Minister Mchunu. If I can ask you to deal with the briefings commencing from 154, because you see in 153 you say Minister Mchunu was appointed as a minister from 3 July 2024 until he was suspended on the 13th of July 2025. Then the next subtopic is briefings by National Commissioner to the Minister of Police. So if I can ask you to start at 154.
Following the appointment of the new Minister of Police.
Thinking again, Mr. Mtau, the transcription will now reflect suspended.
Oh, yes. Who it was put on leave. Apologies. Thank you. I can't blame the person who planted this language. Because,
Ms. Mtau, maybe just for clarification, appointment and taking office. Did he take office on the 3rd of July, or was that the date when the cabinet was announced, but he took office sometime later? And if you don't have it now, we can clarify it later.
Yes.
But
Thanks.
it's important in terms of the sequence from July to December 2024.
Thanks, Commissioner Kumal. I don't have it immediately at hand, but we will look into that. Thank you. Yes, paragraph 154.
Yeah, following the appointment of the new Minister of Police, it is standard practice for the National Commissioner to arrange a series of comprehensive briefings. These sessions serve to familiarize the incoming minister with the current landscape of policing operations, key policy directives, and ongoing strategic initiatives. The Commissioner provides detailed reports on pressing matters such as major investigations, operational priorities, and any other sensitive matters requiring ministerial oversight. Additionally, the briefing covers the status of specialized units, recent restructuring efforts, and the implementation and progress of previously agreed upon policies. By facilitating these briefings, the National Commissioner ensures that the Minister is fully appraised of critical developments, challenges, and opportunities within the service. This process not only assists the Minister in exercising informed political control and accountability, but also support the seamless translation of directives into effective operational execution. Such initial briefings set the tone for ongoing collaboration, establishing a clear channel of communication and delineating responsibilities between political leadership and senior management. If, however, the Minister does not receive these briefings, several significant risks arise, and that could undermine both the effectiveness and the integrity of policing service. This is due to the fact that without timely access to current intelligence, the Minister may be unable to respond proactively to urgent operational challenges or emerging threats, resulting in delayed or misguided decision-making. Critical investigations and sensitive cases such as those involving high-profile misconduct or complex unit disbandment might proceed without appropriate oversight, raising the risk of political fallout or public controversy. Paragraph 158. Moreover, gaps in the communication that allow internal conflicts, insubordination, or misalignment with the national directives to fester, potentially leading to operational paralysis or the erosion of discipline within specialized units. The absence of comprehensive briefings might also hinder the Minister's ability to exercise meaningful accountability and open avenues for mismanagement and obscure early warning signs of systemic dysfunction. Ultimately, neglecting the briefings imperils the Minister's credibility, expose him to personal and political liability, and compromise the safety and trust of communities the police are sworn to serve. Paragraph 159. Despite standard protocol, the Minister was not open to customary comprehensive briefing opting instead for selective updates on areas of interest or personal interest. On multiple occasions, I advised the Minister of the critical importance of receiving a thorough briefing across all divisions, yet. Just to make an example in this specific regard, we gave the Minister, for example, a briefing on division visible policing, but he was selective in what he wants. I think he wanted central firearm registry. Nothing wrong, of course, maybe he picked up some problems in that area and other areas. Then the rest of the division then was done later at some point. But you could see that that briefing was done to him on the Central Firearm Registry, which is part of Division Visible Policing, done last year already, 2024. If he allowed the whole division to be briefed about the whole of the division, then the point that is on the letter of the 31st December 2024 that talks to border policing, he should have received that briefing then already last year, because earlier than December, because border policing is part of division visible policing. And he was also briefed on crime intelligence, but not the whole, only on specific matters.
But can I just ask you before you proceed, when you say the minister preferred selective updates on briefings, how would this be communicated to yourselves regarding the areas that the minister had selected that he wants to be briefed on? Like, how would that happen?
Normally we would, from one briefing, we'll be knowing that or agree that the next briefing, it will be about the following, and we'll come prepared on those topics. But just before the date of that briefing, the minister will send an email or letter through Chief of Staff to say, in the coming meeting, I would want the following, the specifics. Now, you might find in a specific directorate, it's only one section that he would want to brief. Maybe we thought we were going to brief him about the whole, but it's only that one directorate. Like the example I'm giving, that the Directorate of Visible Policing, I know we briefed him earlier somewhere in 2024. But when we get to the meeting, he selected what he would want in that directorate. And then, so the rest was not given. Hence now we see on the 31st December letter of 31st December 2024 letter, he raised border policing. Now, should he have allowed the comprehensive briefing of that directorate, he would have known earlier on those matters that he raised on that letter.
Right.
General, where you say in this paragraph that he selective updates on areas of personal interest, where you say personal interest, you mean topics identified by him?
Yeah, I mean topics identified by him. Obviously, it might have been, he might have had that there is, he got reports that there are problems in that area or whatever. Yes, personal interest, I actually refer selected by him, yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Madoy. Yes, sir. You had started on multiple occasions. I advised the Minister of the critical importance of receiving thorough briefing across all divisions, yet, and that's where you stopped. Please proceed. Though he acknowledged, line 4.
Yeah, though he acknowledged the remainder,
the reminder.
Though he acknowledged the reminder, he repeatedly did not allocate time for the complete sessions, notably up to the point when the decision to disband the task team, that is the PKTT, was made. Minister Mchunu had not received any formal update on the team's progress. This lack of comprehensive briefing is particularly pertinent to this commission as it underscores a significant gap in gathering of information and adequate information flow prior to the key operational decisions. So what I'm just mentioning there is that up to the point when the 31st December 2024 letter was, the directive was sent to myself, there was never a briefing on the PKTT to the minister.
And you said it's through no lack of trying on your part. You said it was not through lack of trying on your part.
No, it was not through lack of try. I did try many a times to brief him on that.
Yes, please proceed. Paragraph 160.
This is further reinforced by the fact that the three individuals that could have briefed him, at the very least on the PKTT, did not get an opportunity to do so. Neither myself, neither Lieutenant General Mkonazi, nor Lieutenant General Timsani Kumalo were asked to do a briefing. The decision to disband the PKTT in KZN was fundamentally an operational matter, falling squarely within the purview of the National Commissioner, who is responsible for the management and strategic deployment of policing resources. I, supported by senior leadership, determined the structure, mandate, and continued existence of specialized units in response to evolving the threats and the need of effective law enforcement. More so, PKTT is just a task team, not a unit.
So what is the significance of that, if any?
The significance is in as much as the PKTT was established after the call by the president and the response by the IMC, the fact of the matter is it is a task team. Task team is a team that can be either be established by a district commissioner or a provincial commissioner. Well, this one was established after the call-up by those role players that I mentioned. So this establishment can still be activated by the provincial commissioner after giving reasons why, or by myself. So it does not require the level of a minister to go down past national commissioner, past the DNCs, the provincial commissioners, and go and disband a task team. So the level of it did not really require that. If ever, we acknowledge, as I said, that it was established after the call by the higher authorities, but still, he should at least have said, this is what I think we should do. Then we would engage and find out the reasons why, if ever we do, and take it from there. But not without consultation, just disband a team that is at that level of the police.
Please proceed. Next sentence, when the minister intervened.
When the minister intervened and made a determination about the PKTT without receiving comprehensive briefing or affording me and the relevant officers an opportunity to present their assessments, such actions constitute an overreach into areas reserved for my operational command. This encroachment blurred the vital distinction between policy direction and operational execution, potentially compromising the integrity of policing strategies and undermining the established process for internal accountability and decision-making. By bypassing my mandatory responsibilities, the minister's approach risked sowing confusion, eroding discipline, and jeopardizing the effectiveness of law enforcement efforts in sensitive investigations.
So mandatory responsibilities there is statutory responsibilities, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we can proceed. 162.
Even if the decision to disband the task team is deemed a matter of policy rather than operational judgment, let's say maybe this commission find that way, such a determination cannot legitimately occur in isolation from thorough briefings by the relevant sub-executive and meaningful consultation with other key functionaries involved in the task team's work, including the NPA, the SSA, and the Defense Intelligence. These briefings and consultations are essential to ensure that all stakeholders are appraised of the operational realities, the investigative process, and interagency dependencies that underpin the task team's mandate. Only through a considered collaborative process grounded in expert input and collective oversight can such far-reaching policy decision be responsibly and effectively implemented, safeguarding both the integrity of law enforcement strategies and the interest of national security. The implementation of the disbandment, if it had to occur, was quintessentially operational in nature. This speaks to the question whether the disbandment should occur with immediate effect or through gradual phased approach. This fell within the purview of my area of responsibility, and I'm of the firm view that the minister's instruction was separation of powers harm insensitive and constitute executive overreach and political interference. The consequence of this breakdown became evident in subsequent developments. Without the benefit of a full spectrum of briefing, ministerial interventions unfolded without the context or clarity that proper oversight demands. This not only amplified the risk of operational misalignment, but also left senior officers without an avenue to communicate critical updates or concerns, particularly regarding sensitive units such as the PKTT.
Sorry, General, can you just clarify what you mean by breakdown? Is it a breakdown of relationship or are you implying something different?
A breakdown of communication amongst the officers.
Perhaps you'll see there in the second sentence, you talk about without the benefit of a full spectrum briefing. Is that linked to the breakdown in communication that you're talking about?
That is correct, that it links without the full benefit of spectrum briefing, yes, correct.
The left not knowing what the right is doing.
Correct, Commissioners.
Please proceed.
In the absence of structured information flow, decisions regarding the PKDT were made with limited insight into the intricate challenges facing the unit, including its investigative progress and the implication of any proposed restructuring. Key stakeholders include those with direct operational responsibility and interagency partners were sidelined, further compounding confusion and eroding the trust. Such deficiencies in communication and consultation undermine accountability and effective decision-making at the highest level. This context is essential to fully understand subsequent actions and investigations, particularly those relating to General Sibiya. Even when one accepts that the authority to order disbandment of the task team ultimately resides with the minister, the responsibility for translating that policy determination into actionable steps, its operationalization remains vested in the office of the National Commissioner.
Yes, sorry, if I can just stop you there. You see that there's a word that is missing in that sentence or that paragraph. It's even if one were to accept that the authority, because that's an assumption there that you make. You say, assuming it were to be found that
Correct.
that authority resides with the minister, i.e., to take a decision of disbanding the task team, then you separate that process from the second aspect, which is actioning that decision.
That is correct, Commissioners.
Yes, then proceed. As the principal custodian.
As the principal custodian of SAPS operations, I am in charge of implementing ministerial directives in a manner that aligns with established protocols, preserve the integrity of ongoing investigations, and effectively manages the redeployment or restructuring of specialized units. The division of roles is not merely procedural, it is foundational to ensuring that policy intent is realized through expert execution without blurring the boundaries between executive direction and command.
Yes, and can I ask you, before you go to the next topic, which is the cancellation of Mr. Matlala's contract, I've looked at all the correspondence flowing from the minister's letter of 31 December 2024. And I'll just give the references so that the commissioners can have them. For your purpose, you don't need to go there, but it's SFM 9, page 374, SFM 10 at 376, SFM 11 at pages 381, 382, and 406, SFM 12 at page 410, SFM 15 at page 424, SFM 16 at page 433, and SFM 3 at pages 154, 159, and 163. All this correspondence refers to the minister's directive. In other words, it starts from the date of 31 December, 2024, when it was first communicated. Then it's reflected as such in all of those letters. And I'd like to ask a question that flows from that. When looking at these documents, I couldn't find anything that indicates whether consideration was given to the lawfulness of the instruction or directive that the minister gave. But all the documents seem to move from the premise that once the directive is given, it needed to be given effect to. Now, can I ask, since this does not emanate from the documents, when the minister gave that or issued that directive on the 31st of December 2024, was consideration ever given to its lawfulness? In other words, did consideration be given to determine whether that directive had been lawfully issued or not? In other words, separating it from its implementation.
Yeah, no, Commissioner, there was no there was no consideration whether it is legal or not. It was not. I'm sure it will be this commission to determine that.
So you looked into that issue when you were preparing for your appearance at the commission and in catering for the different scenarios. To say first scenario, it is unlawful, but if it is found to be lawful, then you say there is still overreach and or interference in the terms that you've specified in your statement thus far.
Yeah, that's correct, commissioners. It was not considered whether it's lawful or not. So, as I said, I'm sure this commission will assist us in that regard. And if ever it's found to be lawful, then still, when it comes to the how part, I still maintain that that cannot be part of the direction. So, yeah.
Does this mean?
And in fact,
Thank you, Mr. Mtao. General, does this mean that what you say, for example, in paragraphs 161 and 188, maybe you do say it elsewhere as well, is a view that you have come to hold after the event, not that it's a view that you held at the time the minister issued the disbandment instruction or directive? In 161, for context, you say the decision to disband the PKTT in KZN was fundamentally an operational matter falling squarely within the purview of the National Commissioner. And then in 188, you say, in respect of the minister, knowing what I know now, what I considered in the past tense to be irrational and inexplicable encroachment into operational issues is now explained by his desire to hold investigations against criminal cartels by disbanding the PKTT. So does this mean this view is a view you hold now, but which you did not hold at the time the directive was issued?
No, I did hold that view from the beginning when this directive was issued, Commissioner. But of course, that is General Masemola's view. I don't know what is the view of the others, of course, including the public and a lot of legal experts, those that are doing, giving opinions now. This document, for good or bad, it was leaked that time. Actually, I saw it on the media before I was aware that this document was directed to me.
Please make me understand. Maybe I missed something.
Okay.
Please make me understand your response to the chief evidence leader's question then. I thought you meant this is not an issue you considered at the time. Hence the question I asked with reference to paragraphs 161 and 188 of your affidavit. Now, can you make me understand the response you gave to the chief evidence leader just now?
I'm not sure if I follow the commission.
Please repeat your question, perhaps, Mr.
Yes,
Mtao.
perhaps let me try, Chair. I gave you the different references, you remember, and I said, once the directive was issued, I couldn't find any document that indicates that the lawfulness of that direction, i.e. whether it fell within your operational issues or it was one that the minister could legally issue or lawfully issue, was considered. You remember I asked that question and I said the documents seem to move from the premise that the lawfulness of the issuance of that instruction was not an issue, but the focus was on its implementation.
Yes, correct. After it was issued, it was never interpreted whether legal or legal, but it was a directive. But the implementation of it, or the how part of it, definitely was quite questionable right from the beginning.
Yes. Then I proceeded. I said, then in preparation for the commission for appearing and giving evidence here, one of the issues that you looked into, which you had not looked at before, was whether it was or it wasn't lawful for the minister to issue the instruction in the first place. Call, I asked you that question.
Yeah, we didn't look at that at the beginning.
And I think what then the chair is asking you says, with reference to paragraph, for example, 161 of your statement.
And 188.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, and 188, where you talk about considering that instruction to be irrational and an inexplicable encroachment. And the chair is asking that, does that mean that, flowing from your evidence, that is a view that you hold after the fact? In other words, having only looked at it after and in preparation for the commission? Or is it a view that you've always held? That's the question that the chair is asking.
Well, as I said, we didn't check the lawfulness of it, but I held that view, the reserved view, that this might be illegal. But after the fact that I know what I know now, then I concluded that no, I wasn't wrong with my view that this was fundamentally an illegal directive.
So that view was a reserved one. Did you express it to the minister at the time? I think that's more the question that the chair is asking.
Yeah, no, I didn't express it to him, but what I keep digging was, why are you doing this? On what basis are you disbanding this team? And
Or you didn't
I
express?
Never.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
yes, and we never had a really explanation on why.
You make a good point when you say that you are not making any pronouncement on the question of the lawfulness of the instruction, and that you leave that to the commission. And indeed, also, when I put my questions to you yesterday, you will recall that I referred to these two paragraphs, 161 and 188. So I proceeded from the premise of what you yourself are saying, and it was not at that stage any pronouncement on the lawfulness or otherwise of the instruction. That's something that my fellow commissioners and I are yet to consider.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Thanks, Chair. And perhaps just to close that issue, if I can ask you to turn to page 5 of your statement, paragraph 26. You dealt with it yesterday, but it might be opposite. To refer back to it. Please indicate when you are there.
The paragraph?
26. Page 5.
Yeah, correct, I'm there.
Yesterday, you told the commission, when you're testifying in relation to paragraph 26, that you view the benefits of participating in the commission as not only being to provide your account of the interactions with Minister Mchunu on the issues forming the subject matter of for determination in this commission, but you hope that the commission's findings and recommendations will lead to improved governance, public trust, and institutional effectiveness, which are not only critical for SEPS, but are foundational to the well-being and safety of the South African society as a whole. You remember when you're dealing with that?
That's correct, Commissioner.
And it brings into the question sharply the determination of that interpretation, which sits purely and squarely within the remit of the commission to make.
Correct.
In relation to, firstly, the lawfulness of that instruction being issued and the question of its implementation and where either of those two fall.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Right. Thank you. Then if I can ask you to go to the next topic that you deal with in your statement. You're about to deal with the cancellation of Mr. Matlala's contract at page 54 of your statement, paragraph 168. And you deal with that in paragraphs 168 and 169. If I can ask you to please deal with those two paragraphs.
168, Mr. Mchunu, or Minister Mchunu, raised the alarm on the matter of the health risk manager contract at a meeting, and then we subsequently held a meeting on the 24th of December 2024, and a follow-up meeting was held on 3 February 2025. Concerns were raised regarding the health risk manager contract with the Medicare 24 Tshwane district, a contract for medical examination for new SAPS members. Without these exams, new appointments were affected. In the meetings, reports of general non-performance were raised. Minister Mchunu instructed that we look into the contract. During that process, we discovered corruption, fraud, and a failure of delivery of service, resulting in the cancellation of the contract on 13th of May 2025.
But is that not positive action on the part of the minister?
Was it?
Is that not positive action on the part of the minister?
No, it is indeed a positive step on his part. Correct.
Please proceed to 169.
On a conspectus of the facts that have now been revealed, I wonder whether at the time of triggering this investigation, the minister was aware that Brown Mokhosi and Kate Matlala were associates, and that if he did, would he have triggered this alarm? But
Yes,
nevertheless,
so the investigation
triggered the investigation. But nevertheless, we thank him for doing that.
Can I ask you maybe to explain that paragraph 169? What point are you trying to convey there to the commission? When you say on the conspectus of all the facts?
Yeah,
or is it something that you prefer to comment upon after dealing with what follows thereafter?
maybe we can deal with it later. I think so.
Yes, if I can just ask you just to remember, we will need to come back to that so that we place that aspect of your statement in context. Then the next person of interest that you deal with is Lieutenant General Sibia. If I can ask you,
Lieutenant General Sibia was appointed as a Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detection in June 2023. And upon Lieutenant General Sibia's appointment, 3 points of contention surfaced almost immediately, signaling deeper complexities in the operational landscape. The first arose from Sibia's strong desire to assume control over the cold case unit, a unit that has always reported to the Office of the National Commissioner. And this was unusual as the cold case unit typically managed investigations into unresolved matters that have previously been investigated by units under his command.
Can I please ask you to explain that? What do you mean? Like, which of the two offices first interacts with the matters, and where do those matters end up?
Yeah, what I mean here is that we want the cold case unit. Cold case unit, I'm sure it will be known to most South Africans because it's the unit that is investigating the case of Senzo, the soccer player. So what then here I'm saying is that general detectives, in general, they report to divisional commissioner detectives and they report to General Sibia. So the cold case unit only deal with cases that could not be resolved in that sphere of investigation. That's where then the cold case units, they will choose such cases and do investigation. So
it would have gone past General Sibia's area of operation and could not be resolved.
That is correct, yes.
Then it would get escalated to your office.
To yes, the cold case unit.
So what you say you found strange is the fact that he wants that unit to reside within his portfolio of operation.
Yes, he wants that unit to come to his portfolio. I don't deny it. Maybe on the substructure, it's possible that the unit might be linked to him. But for reasons that the cold case units deal with work that you can say where the general detectives or the detectives have failed to unearth or resolve cases, then the cold case unit has been reporting directly to the National Commissioner since the previous National Commissioner and currently myself.
Yeah.
And as the National Commissioner, I counseled him that the vast complexity of crime detection necessitated his focus elsewhere. The cold case unit's specialized mandate does not require his direct involvement given the expansive responsibilities already entrusted to his command. There actually, I did explain to him that you were just being appointed. You have this elephant that you must deal with. So you can't be looking for a piece of hair from the tail of the elephant. Deal with your elephant. Once I'm convinced that you can deal with it, maybe I can then consider giving you this small unit that is there.
Yes, from the elephant, if you can then move to paragraph 172.
The second point of contention centered on General Sibia's insistence that Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, as Divisional Commissioner for Crime Intelligence, should not retain dockets for investigation, specifically the counterintelligence investigations. Lieutenant General Sibia advocated for the sensitive docket to be removed from crime intelligence and reassigned to detectives. Again, I advise Lieutenant General Sibia that his attention should remain on the considerable and demanding portfolio for which he is now responsible, but rather than seeking to restructure units that serve critical, well-established functions within our operational architecture. There is nothing wrong for counterintelligence investigations to carry dockets. So what I'm explaining here is that within crime intelligence, you have got, under counterintelligence, we have got what is called counter investigations. They will carry minimal dockets, and there is nothing wrong if they are doing that. So hence they are called counterintelligence investigations. They can choose to work, partner with detective, or choose to work alone and involve a detective at some point. It's up to them. There is nothing wrong in that regard. And of course, as long if it's a case docket, they now and then update it on the system. But due to the sensitivity of such cases, it might be possible that you can't update on the system, because if you do, the information that will be there might not be suitable to be seen by everyone. So I also, once again, advise him that those dockets are minimal to the amount of work that you have at your hand. The third point of contention related to Lieutenant General Sibiya's, or maybe before that, I must just say that the carrying of dockets by counterintelligence is not something that came with Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo to crime intelligence. It has been there all the time. It's not a new addition to their mandate. Paragraph 173, the third point of contention related to Lieutenant General Sibiya's view that Lieutenant General Khumalo should not oversee the PKTT, but rather it should be overseen by Lieutenant General Sintumule. I advise him that this can be done if Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo is of the view that he is overloaded and had capacity constraints. Otherwise, if he says he can still do it because it's not a full-time job for him, the status quo should remain. And at some point, when I asked Khumalo, he did indicate that the PKTT is a well-oiled machine that runs. He only have to see them maybe once in a month or so, or as and when there is a need. So it's not a burden to him. So he can manage his division of crime intelligence and still oversee the PKTT, which I said there is nothing wrong with that. He should continue.
Yes, and then in 174, I think that first word there should be upon,
yes.
Right? Not upon.
Before you deal with that, Mr. Mdo,
Yes.
with that next paragraph, General, what you have in 171, 172, 173, you're obviously not mentioning it for the sake of it. What is it? What is the point you're seeking to make? Why is it significant that you mention this to us, but also the significance that you attached at the time to what you say are area points of contention on these three topics?
Sorry, Commissioner.
Are you going there still?
Okay. Oh.
Now I'm asking, were you going to deal with that?
Sorry, I was going to ask that perhaps we allow the general to deal with 174.
And then you deal with it.
And then, yes. Yes, thanks. Yes,
Okay, thanks.
yes, if I can ask you to then deal with 104, oh, sorry, 174. So I'm not asking that you discharge an accused with under section 174.
Oh, what's okay.
But but you must still run the case and prove the guilt of this accused. Yes. Yes, please proceed. 174.
Thanks, Commissioners. Upon his appointment in July 2024, but at a later stage, the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, raised the same points, and I gave the minister the same responses as those I gave to Lieutenant General Sibiya, to say there is nothing wrong in the setup that we have in the organization.
And do you have any comments with regard to the similarities of the issues that were raised although there is a time difference.
Yeah, the concerns are that it's just coincident that the same matters are raised, but yeah, one wonders why. Well, General Sibia is on his side. He mentioned that now he wants to have total control of the whole of the detective services, which I then said to him, no. You see, you have got too much work. Deal with what you have, and we can look as you go along to give you some responsibilities. Counterintelligence will not give you at all. Cold case unit, we can consider it in the future.
We heard you.
We heard you. So
I think what remains, and I don't think it goes away because of what you say in 174. I think the question by my co-commissioner, Commissioner Baloyi, stands. So if you could think about that during lunch, and respond to the question when we return. Let us adjourn and resume at 2:00.